They do have a timeout. Decide not to use it. Curry, way downtown. Bang! Bang! Oh, what a shot from Curry!
Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the Warriors Hoopcast. I'm your host CMK, and let's get started. So we had a game today. We played OKC at Paycom Center. Let's break that down first. Clay and Steph hitting clutch shots against OKC. What's new with that? Almost felt like deja vu. The Thunder fans probably internally died after all this because they all remember 2016 when Clay bombarded them with 11 threes in Game 6. Today's game, Clay went to his bench and said, "This is my house." And does anyone disagree? Let's talk about Steph, the playmaker. He distributed the ball pretty well today, and he ended up with, I think, 8 or 9 assists, which is a very good number for him. And he has been averaging 8 or 9 assists per game ever since Draymond went down, or more accurately, ever since this 9 game win streak started, which is a really good sign because we need him on the ball. We need him to play make. We don't want any rookie or any random person bring the ball up the court. It might lead to a turnover. And Jonathan Kuminga played minutes at center today. The defensive concern, however, with him is that he can handle 1v1 situations really well for a rookie, but team defense, he gets lost at times. And milestone for him, he drew his first charge today in his young career. So yeah, that's pretty good for him, and can't wait to see him improve, man. He's looking like a star to me. Let's address the negative from today's game, and if you guess it, you probably guessed it right. It's the rebounding. I think one of those plays we gave up 5 or maybe 6 offensive rebounds in the same possession, and it ended with a Lou Dort putback dunk, and nobody was boxing him out. This is bad. What was that? The Thunder had 18 offensive rebounds today, which kept them in the game longer than they should have been, because we had an 18-point lead over them and they kept coming back. Thankfully, Stephen Clay hit clutch shots. The Warriors were the best rebounding team in the NBA, and we're currently placed third. We rebound 73.8% of our misses, which is a good number. And thank God OKC sucks, because otherwise this game would have easily slipped away. Such mistakes could cost a lot in, say, a playoff series. Let me give you a scenario. I don't want to see Steven Adams get a rebound in a crucial possession of a game 6 and kick it back out to Desmond Bain for an open 3. No, no, this is nightmarish. I don't want to talk about it. Let's talk about Andre Iguodala, who returned to the lineup today. He played 6.5 minutes. He played pretty solid. Got steals, got a three, dished out some assists. Then he went back to the bench and then back to the locker room because of lower back tightness. Being without two vets, that is Draymond Green and Andre Iguodala, who are very smart players of the game, is something to monitor per Steph Curry uh, from his post-game comments. Let's talk about Wiseman. He traveled on the road. He had practice before the game at Paycom Center. He has been having contact practices, and the Warriors management's favorite word is ramp up. And every time they release a statement, they use the word ramp up. How is Draymond Green ramping up his practice? How is James Wiseman ramping up his practice? That's all we know for now, and we await the special kid's return. Is it just me, or are we prone to having very slow starts to the game? It's a brick fest once when the game is starting. But our strong second quarter basically paved our way to the win. Our strong second and third quarters. Now let's look at some news across the league. Right? Let's talk about the two pretty big trades that happened. One, let's start with the Caris LeVert trade. So let me break it down. The Pacers get Ricky Rubio, who is of course out for this season, a 2022 first round pick, and two 2022 second round picks. And the Cavs get Caris LeVert and a 2022 second round pick. Honestly, the Pacers might as well blow it up. That is the most logical next step. They can trade Sabonis, Miles Turner, maybe both, and try and get better with the upcoming draft, which has a lot of potential talent. I hope to break it down in one of the next episodes. And the Cavs, I believe, won this trade because they're adding a good piece to an already contending. No, let's not say contending. They're adding a good piece to a team that would go far in the playoffs. Because Karis LeVert, he has shown growth as a passer out of ball screens, and that is how Cleveland's offense functions. So he'll fit right in. Their offense consists of ball screens and hitting bigs either in pick and pops or on rolls to the rim. Now, Laurie Markkinen is the big that gets hit for pick and pops, and Jared Allen is a rim runner, and he's really good at it. Throws down some vicious dunks. It's a great opportunity for Levert to make a deep run in the playoffs. He's better. He's a better fit to the Cavs than maybe Eric Gordon, Harrison Barnes, or Norman Powell. Speaking of Norman Powell, he also got traded, and let me break that trade down. The iconic fist bump missing duo of Norman Powell and Kawhi are reunited again. And if you guys need a recollection of it, before Game 3 of the 2019 finals, which I do not want to remember, but let's go with it. So they were in the tunnel, and before the players could go out, Norman Powell asked Kawhi for a fist bump, and Kawhi just awkwardly stared down and just pointed towards the entry. Like, nobody can distract this man. Nobody can distract him. He is ultra focused, came out, and we lost that game by a mile, I think. So, yeah, this was the event, and this duo is reunited again. The trade basically is the Clippers getting Robert Covington and Norman Powell, and the Blazers getting Eric Bledsoe, Justice Winslow, Keon Johnson, and the 2025 first round pick. We want to be reminded who Keon Johnson is. He's the guy that broke all records in the draft measurements. He had a 48-inch vertical. That's crazy. I've been trying to jump higher myself, and 48 inches is just it's a dream. Let's look at the Blazers' point of view. It's just sad to see. At this time, they're just teasing Dame when they're just stepping on his loyalty at the moment. How are any of these players going to help the Blazers? Will it even improve them at least a bit? First of all, Dame is out for the season with an abdomen injury, and we don't know if he'll come back. He hasn't looked like himself this season. Hopefully, I hope that he gets out of there. I mean, loyalty is a very good trait to have, but come on, you got to win some rings if you want to go down as one of the best point guards in the NBA. And personally, I hope he heads to Philly somehow. I would love to see Dame and Embiid together. And let's break down the Clippers side of things. They're slowly building their championship Raptors core, if you remember. Serge Ibaka's already there. Kawhi Leonard's already there. And now they added Norman Powell. Marc Gasol, where you at? Just sign a 10-day. That's basically the Raptors. I mean, Kyle Lowry's missing, but there's no way they're getting Kyle Lowry. In all honesty, though, thumbs up on this trade for the Clippers. They are a 500 team, and they're hovering in the seventh, eighth seed for the play-in spot. And this is a very good move for them. They're a 500 team without PG or Kawhi, by the way. And they are much better than the other team from LA. Yep, the LA Fakers. This move can only help the team, right? And on a healthy Clipper squad, Norman Powell would be the third scoring option, and he's a pretty good third scoring option. And Robert Covington will provide a 3 and D for them, and hopefully a good, efficient 3 and D player he should become. They can easily make it to the play-in and be a threat to make it out of the West once they're healthy. For now, a play-in spot is their best chance. And let's not talk about it. I just want to bring up how Terrence Mann, after that very random 40-point game, has not really shown anything this season. He has not made the highlight reel. He has not had as good a game as he had in the playoffs back then. I don't know. This would just had to bring it up. Let's address the Harden situation. Zach Lowe correctly describes this as a nexus of pouting misery. Well said. So Sean Marks was not interested in a Harden trade, and he turned down Daryl Morey on call. And even Steve Nash has expressed publicly that there is not going to be a Harden trade. Side note, The Nets are seventh in the East. Who expected that? Seventh in the East. James Harden has said that he's interested to stick around long term, but we never know. There has been a rumor per Ramona Shelburne that he has spoken ill of the Nets, and that his those grousy rumblings have made it across the league, which is bad for him. The Nets are assuming that the hamstring is serious enough, which means they're trying to believe that he hasn't checked out of playing 100%. If you guys remember, he did that with the Rockets, just showed up with a huge beer belly, looking looking like an uncle, really. This drama is not what he signed up for, if I'm being honest. The whole Kyrie situation about not getting vaccinated and playing only road games, and nobody expected Joe Harris to be out. He would have changed this team a lot. And they're just not looking that good for the playoff scenario. And yeah, they're not looking good right now. Harden and his team have been reaching out to agents across the league, getting advice, looking for agent partnerships. Now, this is reminiscent of what he did before getting out of the Rockets after the playoff in 2020, I believe. And he hasn't had an agent for a longest time. I think the last time he had an agent was when Rob Pelinka became the Lakers GM. And he's also entering free agency this summer. So he's just going around collecting opinions. Again, the timeline comparison with the Rockets of hiring an agent could give you some insight as to what he's feeling, right? And the thing about the Nets is they're the world's best hypothetical team ever. I think they had an offensive rating of 135 plus when Kyrie, Harden, and KD played together. That's insane. No other team comes close to that. And this is how their team works, right? On the defensive end, screw it. Nobody cares. You're just gonna go out there and outscore your opponent. That works. But come on, Harden. He still has a beer belly. That's not right. And again, talking about how good the Nets are when all of them play. Heck, when all of them even don't play, even when two stars are playing, they were a too close into getting to the Eastern Conference final. Just because Durant has a big foot, they couldn't make it. I don't know if any Bucks fan is listening to this. Shout out to a certain Bucks fan that I know, but this is true. If Durant had smaller feet, the Bucks would have been gone in six. See, the situation of the Bucks, the situation of the Nets will change once KD's back because he's just that type of player. He's unstoppable. And another thing about Harden, there were news columns addressing will he force a trade and become MVP last year? Because if you followed the Nets last year, Harden was godlike. He looked in his, even though he didn't look in shape, he was one of the top three players in the league, if not top two. He was getting real MVP attention. Only if he didn't get hurt, man. The first game against the Bucks and poof, gone. He came back after a while, but yeah, you know how that story goes. Here's one thing the Nets should be worried about though. If the Sixers dump Tobias Harris to a team and get his contract out of the way, trading Simmons for less than what they should be getting, this opens up a lot of cap space for Harden. You'd just be helping a fellow contender in the East by this signing. Gotta wait and watch the drama unfold. Number five, the Simmons drama, and that's where it'll end. I do not want to talk about the Simmons drama because it's been talked about for so long and it gets annoying. It started with the Warriors trade rumors. Let me remind you of their asking price. They wanted Andrew Wiggins, James Wiseman, and both our first round picks. And looking at how three of them have turned out in Wiggins, Moody, and Kaminga, yeah, we would have been ripped off by that trade. I am happy with Kuminga and his improvement, Moses Moody and his caliber, and Andrew Wiggins is an all-star who can shoot 42% from three. Fits in with our playstyle. I don't know about Simmons. Shouldn't have made it to the Warriors. Thing is, Simmons 90% won't be moved this season. And yeah, that's it. No more Simmons talk. Let's address some general questions. Are Embiid and Harden a good fit? That's a question to be asked here. Embiid is in his prime on both ends of the floor. He is majestic. He's unstoppable. Would the Sixers waste this season without getting him an actual co-star? No knock on Tobias Harris, but he is not a second option. Knock on wood. Yeah, Joel Embiid is healthy for long enough, and he's on top of the MVP leaderboard. Yeah, I hope he continues healthy, man. The MVP leaderboard is basically one of the two giants of the league, Jokic or Embiid. Choose your pick. And Harden, James Harden, is pretty old with a huge contract. I think he's making 50 mil one of the coming seasons. Would that be a risk in pairing him with Embiid? Because Embiid is still relatively young and Harden's not getting any better. I mean, he could, but he's old. So age might play a factor there. Not everyone is LeBron James. Not everyone ages like wine. So what's a better fit than James Harden? Damian Lillard, Bradley Beal? Personally, I think it would be Damian Lillard, but we'll wait and find out. Here's my take though. Ben Simmons in Brooklyn would be awesome because they finally get a defensive minded guard who can do a lot on the offensive end too if he doesn't pass up on layups. But this is only true if Kyrie is playing. If Kyrie is playing. And he's not. He's in no mood to get vaccinated. Just Durant on offense isn't enough, is it? He is the best offensive player in the league and has been for the last 3 years, maybe even longer. But just him on offense won't be good enough for a title. He needs a co-star. And as Stephen A said, he will have to face a lot of talk about leaving the perfect situation for him in Golden State with Steph, Clay, and Draymond, and coming to the Nets, who are as dysfunctional as it can get in the league right now. I mean, it makes sense though. The Warriors' situation with Draymond and KD was not improving, and the organization did not exactly handle it well. But hey, if he's now winning a ring, then he'll have to face the banter about it. And I love to see the whole Twitter conversations of Kevin Durant publicly calling out Stephen A. Kevin Durant's mom calling out Stephen A. Yeah, that's just food to my eyes. I'm ready for it. And James Harden's legacy is at stake here. He has not had a meaningful playoff performance. He has not had a huge playoff performance. And whenever he has the chance to, he kind of disappears in the moment, right? As Game of Zones, the Bleacher Report says, there's a saying in it that says, disappear like James Harden in a meaningful playoff game. It makes complete sense, doesn't it? So his legacy is at stake here. Will he ever win a title? And if so, where? There are so many unanswered questions. Let's hope we find the answers soon. That's the end of today's podcast, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for making it this long. And if you like it, please like the podcast, share it, subscribe it. And I'll catch you on the next one. Get out of here.